This stunt thing always, I don't know why. The first, here we go. I got it. I thought it was going to be slow going in circles. Hey, good morning. Tony Dattino here, founder of the USA Memory Championship, in my tropical shirt, as today is SeaWorld Day with some friends of ours. Looking forward to going to see the orcas and the dolphins and the seals do their thing and participate in their seafood festival at this time of the year, and hopefully get to see Jefferson Starship this evening. So got an exciting day. Wanted to get my live with Tony this morning. But the important thing I wanted to talk about is in talking to some friends during the course of the week, we've had several conversations of what are some of the things you can do to make and maintain your cognitive health. And as more and more people get older, and I'm even seeing it in the earlier ages, is the question becomes, how do you slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease? Or the bigger question is there any way I can do something to avoid or prevent Alzheimer's disease, other than taking whatever the latest drugs or pills or experiments are that they're trying to find to reverse it, which is nobody's been successful at that one yet. But in any case, it's always interesting to have people talk about the worry or the bit of stress that they get when they are thinking about Alzheimer's or dementia. And as I've learned in working with Advent Health Hospital for a number of years, nobody wants to live to be 100 years old if they are not able to maintain their mental functions, their ability to know who they're talking with, and the ability to know and learn whatever's in front of them and have conversation about it. And so we talked about at least the most important thing is purpose. Why do you want to keep going? Why do you want to remember things? Why do you want to continue to elongate your life? Is there a reason that you want to get older? Is there some purpose that you have that keeps the engines moving, that keeps the excitement, the passion, the enthusiasm going? And so, it's an interesting question, because each individual's purpose, when you ask them, well, why do you want to keep going? It's grandkids, maybe it's a work project that you're on, maybe it's a hobby that you just so enjoy, maybe it's a spouse that you're still madly in love with, maybe it's the kid. There's so many diverse reasons as to what the purpose is for why people have a passion and enthusiasm and excitement of having the motivation to just want to keep going, which is the first part of, well, why would I want to do these other things if I don't have a reason for wanting to keep going? And the first thing that keeps popping up is people feel, well, my family, I don't have family anymore, I'm the only one. And so you bounce into this thing called isolation or loneliness. And that brings the whole debate or discussion of social interaction. So as we get through our years, do we have friends? Have we got high school friends, college friends? Do we maintain some social network throughout our whole life, regardless of what our age is? I mean, when we see what students did when they were locked down for COVID isolation, we saw what that did to the health of a lot of young people that they're still recovering from. The psychologists were claiming it's going to take years for kids to overcome this notion of loneliness and isolation, and what the post-traumatic stress effects would that be. And that debate's still going on. So this notion of being isolated or alone and not having the social contact, somebody to talk with, somebody to share an ache or a pain with, that's in any age. And I watch kids play on the corner playground here and throwing balls around, or throwing a ball around, or playing catch now. They're starting to get ready for baseball season here. And so it's that whole teamwork, that whole interaction that we have at any age that gives us friends, that somebody we can play with, laugh with, and go out and throw a ball to. So that hits us at any age. So isolation and loneliness is one of the biggest killers of it all. So we talked about that and how one maintains that with family, friends, or community. So you see a lot of activity in community, and that's one of the benefits of the workshop that Michael and Catherine do on a weekly basis with people building up new friendships. So that we're never too old to build up new friendships. Maybe some coaching to help that. How about your nutrition? So we talked about the balance of proteins and fats and carbs, and so this whole notion of what are the right fats to eat, what carbs can we have, should we just be eating more protein, and that balances, that battle keeps going over back and forth like a ping pong match. And to what that settles, we just have the new nutrition tables come out a few weeks ago again, and so it's like, if we can only get that one to settle down and be firm, I think we'd be in great shape. So what our nutritional habits are, and when we eat, even the time of the day they're coming back with, and maintaining our weight and things of that sort, and how our nutrition impacts our thinking and our brains and our cognitive well-being. Talking this week was sleep. I mean, people want to get their sleep. I mean, who likes starting a day feeling like they barely slept and they're just dragging their feet along? And so getting this, the whole idea, God, there's so many articles that I've been reading here on sleep and how we go about getting our 7 or 8, and again, that varies with people, but the more important thing is, when you get up in the morning, do you feel rested? And you want to get at least those 3 to 4 hours of deep sleep, because that's when you're clearing out the toxins that are in your brain. And so the science has really uncovered a lot in sleep studies on what is important, why is it important for us to get hours of sleep. And I know there's nobody that I know of that doesn't get a good night's sleep, that wakes up in the morning tired and says, oh, I just can't wait to get through the day. It's more of like, how am I going to get through the day, get myself through it? We go from nutrition, the social interaction, to our sleep. Now we're going to bounce to mental challenges. And so people look at crosswords or Sudokus or what are the different activities that we talk to that help maintain some challenge in our brain. And one of the people I had a chance to talk to is a ballroom dance partner, and he talks about the importance of positioning and how you hold someone, and then the movements of steps, and then you change partners and you dance in these ballroom activities where you change your partners, and in different communities where they have these ballroom dancing lessons and things like that. And so the different partners and the different, which is social activity, your movement, your brain. Boy, he could be a marketing expert and a salesman on ballroom dancing because of the benefits that he personally sees to all of the things that are give him energy and excitement as he's going through his life, looking forward to ballroom dancing. And then he explained the movements and how you hold somebody, and the different person, and the people that you get to dance with, requires a little bit of a different dance step and stuff. And so, he'd be fantastic in terms of being a expert on why ballroom dancing is so beneficial, as well as mental challenges, problem solving, continuing to read and learn something new, maybe a musical instrument, maybe not, maybe it's just a new hobby or a new fix-it project of some sort, where you're reading and studying and applying, and you're engaging your motor skills as well as your mental skills and making something happen. Maybe you want to do some artwork, and maybe there's some art project that you want to do. We go from there to stress management. How well are we maintaining our stress levels? And what happens to our cortisol levels as we spike, we get tense, and it's where there are days where I just don't want to listen to the news. And that doesn't mean I'm in a vacuum, but it just means there are some days I just want to try to keep myself steady and not get myself stressed. And so how do we find ourselves with activities that help us to maintain our stress levels? And that is obviously very, very important in what we're doing. And then, of course, as we go along with these different techniques and tips, what do we do to exercise ourselves? And this is, take a few more. Take a few more steps. Take a few more steps. Just do a little bit of walking. We don't need to be all runners, marathon races. We don't need to be skiing downhill and making those big leaps that you see in the Winter Olympics. but my goodness gracious, what are some at least movement activities, from flexibility to light muscle, 3-pound weights maybe, and a little bit of cardio. Now they're saying is even a 10-minute walk at the end of the day. All good things that we can do to maintain our mental fitness. And those have been some of the really fun conversations I've had this week, when people begin to realize there are some things that I can do as I fret and worry about the fear of Alzheimer's or dementia of any sort. And we're off to the weekend. Here I am in the Windermere, Florida, Orlando area, Central Florida, where we're in the 80s this weekend, and I'm seeing snowstorms are coming up to the northeast. So feel good. I've got my tropical shirt on for today's action, and we'll see you next week. Be safe and smart, and have a nice weekend.